I burnt 271 gallons of fuel getting this boat from Clearwater, Florida to Marsh Harbor, Abaco, Bahama. A few days before the trip, I got on the boat to check all my fluid levels like gas, diesel, water, everything on the boat. And I also wanted to jump in the GPS and make sure that we had the charting in the area so we weren't left high and dry, figuratively or literally, and we had all safe navigation. I also had to take the radar off the top of the boat. My life revolved around windy for a few days. I checked this app multiple times a day, every day, to know these weather patterns. Day one of the trip started bright and early at Seminole Boat Ramp in Clearwater, Florida. We were headed over to Stewart, where the boat was going to end up staying the night. I had to put the radar back on the top. We also did a quick detail on the boat to make sure she was all clean and ready for the trip. The skies in the morning were absolutely gorgeous, but the seas were not. It was a lot rougher than what we were expecting. But realistically, it's nothing this boat couldn't handle. It would just be a little bit more of a choppy ride. I couldn't use autopilot and I actually had to work the throttles. Jen sat behind me because we were taking a lot of spray and there's a few storms out in the area. Once we got to the backside of the storms, the seas ended up picking up a lot. The wind and current were crossing each other in the Gulf Stream, and we were burning a ton of fuel. I think my fuel burn was right around 0.8 miles per gallon. When we got to the Bahama Banks, it took us 4 hours to get over here, and we'd burn 110 gallons of fuel at this point. We still had about 100 miles left to go to get to Spanish Key to clear customs. Once we got a little bit closer to Abaco, we got some protection from some barrier islands, and the seas laid down. We picked up the speed and got a little bit better fuel burn. About 12 hours and 271 gallons later, we show up at Marsh Harbor. Day 3, the owner let us use his boat for a little bit, so we bounced around a couple islands, went to some restaurants. Of course, we had to hit Firefly because there's a ton of easy dockage and awesome food there. We hit Hopetown, walked around there for a little bit where we found this absolutely gorgeous beach with some incredible views. Unfortunately, there was a big fire in Marsh Harbor, and this is actually the view from our balcony. After all was said and done, we jumped on Silver, and that brought us back to Fort Lauderdale, where we got in a rental car and drove all the way back to Clearwater. In all, it was an easy trip, and I might be going back to get the boat here in the next month or so.